The moon and sun. When time began, the sun rose and shone on the earth, creating day, and the creatures of the world began to celebrate, happy to feel safe in the light of day. But for the sun, it was hard work shining all the time, and the sun would grow tired and need to rest. But the sun was compassionate, and it didn't want to leave the little creatures of the earth in the dark, so it bestowed some of its light onto the earth's little sister, the moon, awakening her from the dark of night. And as the moon would rise, it would shine its borrowed light from the sun. After time, the moon began to grow jealous because it was not celebrated like the sun and did not have a light of its own. Why should I have to do the sun's job? The moon thought. The sun gets all the praise. The corn and wheat grow under its light, and the people come out to play. Everyone hides when I come out, and they light fires to protect themselves against me. The moon's thoughts grew darker and darker as she began to wane, taking her borrowed light with her until one night she didn't shine at all. That night, the people of the earth lit more fires to ward off the dark, scared. But the moon did not see it that way because it was sulking. The next morning when the sun rose, it called to the moon, "Moon, moon, why did you not shine last night? You left the earth in darkness." The moon replied, "I am tired of shining a light that is not my own, and I like the dark sometimes. I am not your servant. If you want to shine a light on the earth, do it yourself." The sun was confused. "But your sister Earth needs you to help the creatures that live upon her. You give them light in the dark. Your presence gives them hope." The moon had not thought of it that way, but she wasn't convinced. So she replied, "No one notices me. Nothing grows under my gaze. Everyone hides and lights fires to intimidate me." The sun began to understand. "Dear Sister Moon, the people of Earth do not light fires to intimidate you. They light them because they are afraid of the dark." The moon thought about this for a moment. She gazed down at the early morning, watching the little creatures wake and stretch. When they saw the moon in the sky talking with the sun, they began to cheer and wave, shouting, "Moon! Where were you, moon? Why did you leave us in the dark?" The moon replied, "You don't love me. You don't worship me the same way you do the sun." The people of the earth fell silent. They hadn't realized they'd been neglecting the moon. They began to talk amongst themselves. The people of the earth finished their whispering and turned towards the sky. "Moon," they said, "we are so sorry we have been taking you for granted. Your borrowed light is our hope in the night. You make it so beautifully your own. We need you, moon. And so we don't forget you ever again. When you wax, we shall celebrate your light, and when you wane, we will celebrate your absence by lighting campfires, awaiting your glorious return. We will never take you for granted again, dear moon." The people of the earth shouted in praise. "We see our selfishness in celebrating only the sun. You are a very special moon. We will celebrate you in all your phases." Then the moon felt loved. The gratitude from the creatures of the earth floating up to her and into her core. And the moon was happy, living in the light and living in the night.